Hello, everyone. Welcome to the financial mini lecture. Let us begin with a seemingly simple question. Who actually produces the money we use in our daily lives? Is it really as simple as printing banknotes in a minting facility? These questions lead us to today's topic, money supply. First, let's define what money supply is. Money supply refers to the total amount of money held at a given point in time by economic entities other than the government and deposit-taking institutions within a country. Please note that money here includes not only the cash in our pockets but also deposits held in commercial banks. So, who supplies this money? This brings us to the key issue of the entities that create money. The agents of money supply include two core players, the central bank and commercial banks. They are like the source and the amplifier of money, jointly forming the money supply creation system. First, the central bank, which in China is the People's Bank of China, is the source of money. When the central bank purchases government bonds or financial bonds, it injects base money into the market. This is like opening the main gate of a reservoir, releasing the initial liquidity into the entire economic system. Base money, also known as high-powered money or the monetary base, is the source and foundation of money creation in the entire financial system. It includes cash in circulation, cash circulating outside the banking system, and commercial banks' reserve deposits. The latter includes vault cash and required reserves held at the central bank. A change in 1 unit of base money can, through commercial banks' deposit and lending activities, generate a multiplier effect that expands or contracts the broad money supply, M2, by several times. In the process of money supply, in addition to the central bank as the supplier of base money, commercial banks play the role of a money amplifier. Through familiar deposit and lending activities, they create deposit money that is several times larger than the base money. This process is the well-known money multiplier effect. Let us look at a classic money creation process. First, we make the following assumptions. Banks retain only the required reserves, with a required reserve ratio of 10%, and lend out all remaining funds. All loans received by customers or payments they receive are deposited into banks in the form of deposits, and customers do not withdraw cash from banks. The only form of deposits is demand deposits. There are no time deposits. Suppose the central bank injects 1 million Chinese yuan of base money into the banking system. The required reserve ratio is 10%. The process unfolds as follows. Round 1, banker receives 1 million Chinese yuan of base money. It must keep 10%, 100,000 Chinese yuan, as required reserves at the central bank. It can lend out the remaining 900,000 Chinese yuan to customer A. Round 2, customer A pays 900,000 Chinese yuan to supplier B, who deposits it into their own bank, namely Bank B. At this point, total deposits in the banking system have increased by 900,000 Chinese yuan. Round 3. After receiving the 900,000 Chinese yuan deposit, Bank B keeps 10%, 90,000 Chinese yuan, as reserves and lends out 810,000 Chinese yuan to customer C. Round 4. Customer C pays 810,000 Chinese yuan to supplier D, who deposits it into Bank C. And the cycle continues. We can present this process in a table showing the creation of deposit money. Now, Let us calculate the final result. Initial injection, 1 million Chinese yuan, base money. Total newly created deposits, 900,000 Chinese yuan plus 810,000 Chinese yuan plus 720,000 Chinese yuan, and so on, is approximately 9 million Chinese yuan. Increase in total money supply, broad money M2. 1 million Chinese yuan plus 9 million Chinese yuan equals 10 million Chinese yuan. Money supply expands from 1 million Chinese yuan to 10 million Chinese yuan. This expansion factor is the money multiplier. The above example of deposit money creation is based on ideal conditions. In reality, the actual money creation process is affected by factors such as cash withdrawals by customers and banks holding excess reserves. After understanding the agents of money supply, let us now study the main factors affecting money supply. The first key factor is the policy operations of the central bank. The central bank regulates base money and influences the money multiplier through its three traditional policy tools: the required reserve ratio, the rediscount rate, and open market operations. For example, lowering the required reserve ratio means commercial banks need to remit less money to the central bank and can lend out more funds. This expands the money multiplier and increases money supply. Conversely, money supply decreases when the reserve ratio is raised. When the required reserve ratio remains unchanged, the central bank can increase money supply by injecting base money through open market operations, or reduce money supply by withdrawing base money. The second important factor is the lending behavior of commercial banks. Even if the central bank provides sufficient base money, if commercial banks are unwilling to lend due to risk concerns, or if firms and households are reluctant to borrow because of uncertain economic prospects, the money creation process will be hindered. This is like having a water source but blocked pipes that prevent smooth flow. The third factor that cannot be ignored is the public's asset preference. When the public prefers holding cash instead of deposits, or prefers time deposits over demand deposits, the size of the money multiplier changes. This affects both the structure and total amount of money supply. From today's lesson, we can see that money supply is far more complex than simply printing money. It is a sophisticated process jointly shaped by the central bank, commercial banks, and the public. Understanding money supply helps us interpret national monetary policy and recognize that we ourselves are an important part of the monetary circulation system. Thank you for listening. See you next time.